All right, guys, we're ready to take a look at our 2.2 notes. On 2.1, we talked about one-step equations and solving with multiplication and division. And here in lesson 2, we're going to kick it up a notch and we're going to go to solve two-step equations. All right? So here we go. A two-step equation contains two operations. To solve a two-step equation, we're going to undo each operation in reverse order of operations, okay? So when I say reverse order of operations, again, we kind of think of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Technically, it should be kind of like this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And again, the reason for that is kind of addition and subtraction are on the same level, and multiplication and division are on the same level. So we're going to focus on these two levels or this portion of it, okay? We're going to get rid of addition and subtraction first, and then we're going to get rid of our multiplication and division second. All right, so those are the two steps that we're going to be working on here in 2.2. Okay, so we've already got an example that's given to us over here. They do a pretty good job of walking through this. I'm not going to go through a whole lot of this with you, but there is one there of how to solve it and also how to check it. Okay, checking is a huge part that we're going to spend a lot of time in chapter 2 working on. Remember, that's one of the biggest reasons why I really enjoy this chapter, is because you always know if your answer is correct or if it's not correct before you move on to the next problem. Okay? All right, so here we go. We want to go ahead and solve each equation, and then we're also going to check that solution. Okay? So as always, we have a left side and a right side of the equation. It's always split on the equal sign. All right, and what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to get rid of the addition or subtraction first. So you need to remember what's between your equation or your numbers or whatever you want to call it, okay? So in our equation, we have 2 times d, or multiplied by d, plus 7 equals 9. So we're focusing on the left side of the equation since our variable's over there. And we want to go ahead and get rid of this plus 7. So our goal is to get that positive 7 to move to the other side of the equation. And to move that, we want to use either addition or subtraction. All right? So right now we have positive 7. So what we need to ask ourselves is 7 plus 7 become 0, or does 7 minus 7 become 0? So hopefully you guys know that it's subtract 7. And as you guys should remember, anytime we do one thing to the left side of the equation, we need to do the exact same thing to the right side of the equation. So we go ahead and subtract 7 on the right side as well. All right, this next thing is called zeroing out. So what happened was the positive 7 and the subtract 7 becomes 0 on the left side of the equation, and that's why it goes away. The 2 times d drops down. The equal sign drops down, and then we answer. 9 minus 7 is 2. All right? So again, as I already referred to, we have multiplication between 2 and d. So the opposite of multiply is divide. And again, if we do something to one side of the equation, we have to do the exact same thing to the other side. So 2 divided by 2 becomes 1d. And over here on the right side, 2 divided by 2 becomes 1. All right, so to check this, we go back to the original equation, 2d plus 7 equals 9. We think that the answer should be 1, but we need to prove it, okay? So we're going to take this answer, and we're going to plug it into the original equation. So we keep the 2, we replace d with 1. Notice again, I talked about this in lesson 2.1, anytime we replace a variable with a number, we want to put that into a set of parentheses, and then plus 7 drops down, equals 9 also drops down. Okay? So now we just do this just like normal. Okay? So we have multiplication first. 2 times 1 is 2. Bring down the plus 7. bring down the equals, bring down the 9. 2 plus 7 is 9. And the equals 9 comes down as well, and we notice that the left side and right side are equal to each other, so that proves to us that our answer for number 1 is D equals 1. All right, number 2. Go ahead and draw our line in. Notice that our variable this time is on the right side of the equation, so we're going to focus a lot of our attention over here on the right side first. We have 3 times c, and we have plus 5, all right? So we want to get rid of the plus 5 by using subtract 5, so that this becomes 0 over here on the right. 11 minus 5 is 6. We bring down the equals, we bring down the 3z. All right, and between the 3 and the z is multiplication, so the opposite of multiply is divide. So we divide by 3 on the right, which means we have to divide by 3 on the left. 6 divided by 3 makes 2. 3 divided by 3 becomes 1, z. So we think the answer is 2, but we're not 100% sure of that. So again, we come over here and recheck it. We rewrite the original equation, which is 11 equals 3z plus 5. And we take what we think the answer is, and we plug it back into the equation. So we keep the 11, keep the equals, keep the 3. We do not keep c, we make it 2, and then we keep the plus 5. Can't do anything with the 11, so it drops. 3 times 2 is 6, and then 6 plus 5 is 11. So again, we notice the left and the right side are equal to each other, which means we are correct with our answer. All right, moving down to number 3. We have 2s minus 4 equals 6. So again, we draw our line to help us remember the left side and the right side. We have 2 multiplied by s, and we have subtract 4. So we want to get rid of the subtraction first. The opposite of subtract is add 4. That zeroes out on the left side. The 2s drops down. 6 plus 4 becomes 10. To get rid of the 2 in front of the s, we know there's multiplication between it right now, so we do the opposite, which is divide. So 2 divided by 2 gives us the 1s, and 10 divided by 2 is 5. So we think s is equal to 5. To check that, we bring it over, and we fill that back in, or plug that back into the original equation. So it's 2 times 5 minus 4 should give us the answer of 6. So 2 times 5 is 10. 10 minus 4 is 6, and that is equal to the right side. So we know our answer for number 3, s equals 5, is correct. Number 4, draw our line, paying attention to the right side because that's where our variable is. We have 5 times r, and we have plus 8. So we want to get rid of the plus 8 first by using subtract. We zero out the right side. Negative 12 minus 8. This is one of the biggest things that people make mistakes on here in this chapter, is struggling with positive and negative numbers, okay? So it's not that you don't necessarily know the steps and how to do it, but positive and negative numbers for a lot of people is extremely difficult. So we're at negative 12, and we're going 8 units further to the left, okay, because it's negative 12. So that becomes negative 20. And the 5r drops down. And again, between the 5 and the r is multiplication. So the opposite of that would be to divide the right side by 5, which means we also have to divide the left side by 5. Negative 20 divided by 5 gives us an answer of negative 4. 5 divided by 5 becomes 1r. All right, and then again, we want to check that. So we bring it over and rewrite it. Negative 12 equals 5r plus 8. And we plug that r value in with negative 4. So our negative 12 drops down, equal sign drops down, 5 drops down, r does not drop down, it gets replaced with negative 4, and the plus 8 drops down. Okay, our multiplication comes first, so 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, and add 8 becomes negative 12 is equal to negative 12. So left and right side, again, are equal to each other. Okay? All right. Moving on here. Number 5 on the back. Draw a line up in. We want to add 3. The negative 6p is going to drop down, which is equal to 6. We divide by negative 6, and p is equal to negative 1. Okay? So, I'll come back and check these all at once here on the back side. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and solve them out first. So add 2, that makes negative 12, which is equal to 4x. Divide by 4, gives us negative 3, which is equal to x. Okay, like I said, I'm going to come back and check those here in just a minute. So, number 7, we have 2c plus 2 equals 10. Again, we want to get rid of the plus 2 first by subtracting 2 on each side. The 2c drops down. 10 minus 2 is 8. We want to divide each side by 2, and c is 4. All right, number 8. Draw on our left side and our right side with the line. So we have 3 plus 9n. Okay, this is a little bit different here. When the number comes first, you have to pay a little bit close attention to that, right? So right now I have a 3. I want to get 3 to become 0. So is it 3 plus 3 or is it 3 minus 3? So you should know that it's subtract 3 so that that becomes 0. The plus 9n, actually the plus sign just goes away. That basically turns into a positive sign now when it's in front of a coefficient, which is the number in front of a variable. 21 minus 3 becomes 18. In between the 9 and the n is multiply, so we want to divide. So 9 divided by 9 gives us the 1n. 18 divided by 9 gives us 2. All right, number 9. We have 21, which is equal to 5 minus r. I would highly recommend right here, since we don't have a coefficient in front of the r value, we've talked a lot about hidden numbers, and I would highly recommend that you're going to write in minus 1r here. Okay, and that's going to become important in our last step. So, all right, again, this is where people get tripped up because they see a subtraction sign. And so most people want to add 5 to each side, but you always have to ask yourself, if I'm trying to get rid of the 5, I need it to become 0. So is positive 5 plus 5 0? It's not. And so because of that, we want to subtract 5 on each side. Even though there's that subtraction sign in the problem, we still need to subtract 5 so that I can get it to become 0. 21 minus 5 is 16. And then right here, that minus 1r drops down and becomes negative 1r. I now need to go ahead and divide each side by negative 1. So we end up with negative 16 is equal to r. Okay? Number 10. We've got a fraction here, so it's like 4 minus 1/5 of v, basically. Okay, so we can put a hidden 1 next to that v, and it's equal to 0. All right. So we now need to subtract 4 on each side. The negative 1v over 5 drops down, which is equal to negative 4. 2.1 was how do we get rid of a fraction in front of a variable. And we know that we need to multiply by the reciprocal on each side. So over here on the left side, that becomes 1v. Over on the right side, I need to put a 1 under negative 4. And I take the top times the top, which gives me positive 20, and the bottom times the bottom, which is 1, and then I rewrite it, so it's b equals 20. Okay? All right, number 11, again, we have that fraction, so we're going to draw a line in. I'm going to rewrite this so that that hidden number is there. And again, we want to get rid of the 2. So is it 2 plus 2 or 2 minus 2? It is subtract 2 so that it becomes 0. The 1a over 6 drops, and 5 minus 2 is 3. Again, we see that fraction, so we make the fraction flip over, which is 6 over 1, and we multiply on each side. So on the left side, we get 1a. On the right side, 3 times 6 is 18, and then 1 times 1 on the bottom doesn't really do anything for us, so we just leave it 1a equals 18. Number 12. All right, we have a negative 1/3 cube and a subtract 7 equals negative 3. So we want to get rid of the subtract 7. We want to make it plus 7 so that it becomes 0. Negative 1/3 of q drops down. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4. We want to go ahead and flip our fraction over, which is negative 3 over 1, and we want to multiply each side by that. So on the left side, it becomes 1q. On the right side, we put our 1 underneath of the 4. And again, top times top. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And on the bottom, 1 times 1, again, doesn't help us out, so we just leave it as is. Okay? So that's going through all of those equations. Again, it really comes down to 2 simple things. First, you need to add or subtract to get the number moved away from the variable so that it becomes 0. And then the second thing is you need to either divide or multiply by the reciprocal to get the next part to go away. Okay? I'm going to go back up and check these just to make sure that we're good. So number 5, we have negative 6 times negative 1 minus 3 equals 9. Negative 6 and negative 1 becomes 6. Sorry, that's a plus sign there. 6 plus 3. And 9 equals 9. So we know that number 5 is okay. Number 6, we have the check. Negative 14 equals 4x minus 2. And we're plugging this in. So negative 14 equals 4 times negative 3. Negative 14 equals 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. And we subtract 2 more from it. And we get negative 14 on each side of the equation. All right, number 7 to check it. We're checking to see if 4 is our answer. So 2c plus 2 has to be 10. And c is getting replaced with 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. So again, left side and right side equal, so we know we're correct. Okay, number 8, we have 3 plus 9n equals 21, and we're replacing n with 2, so it's 3 plus 9 times 2 equals 21. Our multiplication comes first, so the 3 drops down, 9 plus 2 is 18, and 3 plus 18 is 21, and the left and right side, again, equal each other. Number 9, we have 21, which is equal to 5 minus r, or 5 subtract r. Then we're going to go ahead and check this. Also going to write in that hidden 1 there. Okay? So it's 21 equals 5 minus 1 times negative 16. So this little negative here kind of gets applied to this 1, right? So we're going to take negative 1 times 16 first, and that gives us positive 16. And then we add them together. So 21 equals 21. And again, that works for each side. Number 10, to check, we have 4 minus b divided by 5 equals 0. You could put that 1 in here, but in this case, it's actually a little bit easier if you leave it out, so I'm going to. We have 4 minus 20 goes on the top of the fraction in parentheses, divided by 5 equals 0. So again, division comes first, so 20 divided by 5 makes 4. Now we do subtraction. 4 minus 4 is 0. So the left and right side do equal each other. Okay, we want to move on and check number 11. We have 2 plus a over, or a divided by 6 equals 5. And we think a should be 18. So it's 2 plus 18 in parentheses divided by 6 equals 5. Division comes before in order of operation. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. And 2 plus 3 is 5. And so the left and right sides equal each other again. And number 12, we have negative 1/3 of q minus 7 equals negative 3. And we think our answer for q should be negative 12. So it's negative 1/3 times negative 12 minus 7 equals negative 3. Negative 3rd times negative 12, the two negatives cancel each other off and become positive 4. Subtract 7 from that, and we do indeed end up with negative 3. So, again, a couple things about 2.2. You have 2 steps to all of these. First step, add or subtract your number, which is your constant term. Okay, it's not going to change. It's not connected to your variable. The second step is either to multiply or divide by the coefficient, and that coefficient is always the number next to the variable. Okay, so that will finish up our notes for lesson 2.2.